Right, for the last Inter-80 race of the weekend, 80cc bikes, 10 and 11 years old. They've got the 15-second board up. Down now, 5 seconds and gone. These busy bees are chasing up. We're looking for three riders, number 5, number 22 and 77. Any one of these three can take the overall win for the weekend. And it looks like 22 and 77. Oh, somebody spins it round there. It looks like Paynton. The long track. So, following the pack round now. As the pack stutter their way through all these bumps and lumps created by these 125cc machines. It's 22 in the lead. So number 22 at this moment in time, Carl Nunn, Team Green Kawasaki. And it's the 7 of Roy Boy Wells. He's the second place man. So Nunn stretching his lead a little bit. Roy Boy Wells, he was in second in the last race as well. So it's 22 from 77. Number 10 and number 5. So it's a repeat of the last race with 22 in the initial lead from 77 Roy Boy Wells and number 5 James Paynton. So that's where the race centres on this weekend. I think Carl Nunn's only got to maintain this first position and he's probably got the overall. As we see the long shot there of Carl Nunn coming down the bank. That's the 2 of the Team Green Kawasaki, this 80cc bike. Carl comes from Nigatili. There's Wells, there's Paynton, but that's the man at the moment. Carl Nunn, 22, in the lead. Carl Nunn, he's 11 years old, comes from Sutton, which is near Ely in Cambridgeshire. He's been racing some 3.5 years, so he started when he was 7.5. That's the 7 bike of Roy Boy Wells, currently in second position. 22 down on the Honda curve at the moment. Seeing the pits far behind him. He drops down into that gully. Got brambles either side of him. He doesn't want to come off there. Sweeping down into that right hand sweep before they straighten themselves up and come up the 3 uphill steps. There's 77 in second place. Number 5 James Paynton in third. So it's Wells and Paynton. That's the battle for second and third. They're around the Kawasaki turn now. And 22 rounding the finish area turn there. As he shoots down now into the gully. Climbing up again. Up these banks for the double horseshoe turn. As the rest of the pack come chasing through. 22, nice smooth style of Carl. Carl coached by Dad, who's, we've said before, is an ex-Grand Prix rider. So I think young Carl has got motocross in his blood. He's got an excellent shooter. And as we say, he's been going for 3.5 years. He's certainly been winning for the last 3. So, appearing into the view from the Suzuki Swerves. That's the battle for second place. That's the battle for second spot between number 77, Roy Boy Wells, and number 5, James Paynton. The rest of the field then come following through. But that's Carl Nunn across the top of the track on that fast Bova straight. So Carl takes this race win, that's Nunn through that Cambridge short straightaway. He's certainly got a long lead now. Here's 77 and 5. That's Roy Boy Wells and James Paynton. Second and third. I don't know if James Paynton has got quite the legs to catch Roy Wells, because Roy certainly put Carl Nunn under pressure in that last race. There's 22, rossing it over. There's Wells, second place man. That back wheel kicking up, so the front wheel drops down low. Not exactly the best style, but these lads cope with it. James Paynton also on the blood red Honda, following him through. So that's the battle for second and third spot, probably for the weekend. 77 already, 22, sorry, Carl Nunn already up into that double horseshoe. As we wait now, there's the following 2 bikes chasing, so Carl Nunn's certainly got the legs of everybody in this particular race. As we say, it's a very smooth riding style that Carl Nunn has. He rides for Team Green Kawasaki, so he gets help with his bike and clothing. In fact, it's a miniature version of Dave Thornton, the current world champion, although David is losing his world championship this year, suffering with a virus, so he's dropped back to 3rd in the world rankings. But Carl Nunn certainly on top of the pile here at the BSMA Finals this weekend. So we're going on the Bova straight. 77 and 5. Looking at the leader, Carl Nunn. He's got now quite a massive lead. There's this battle for second. James Paynton is now right up with Roy Boy Wells, 77. They're on that camber turn. And they're going to drop down over the far side, around the Honda banner, very appropriate for these 2 Hondas. And we're back with the leader, straightening himself up for these uphill jumps. There's the first, there's the second, there's the third. There's the battle for second and third. Jamie Wells on the 7 Honda, kicking up the dust from the back wheel. James Paynton making a determined charge. He's not that far away. They're around the Kawasaki turn now. And they seem to be picking up a little bit of ground perhaps on Carl Nunn. Perhaps Carl using his head now. Perhaps he's got the signal from father. Just say, well, steady up, use your head. Don't get yourself into trouble. But trouble is what Jamie Wells has got on his back door at the moment, because James Paynton, number 5, is there. As we see 22, Carl Nunn, go over on the far side of the track, over into the top field, jumping up into that one, around on the dirt wheel straight. Oh, we've got one lad, obviously not too seriously hurt. Off come the goggles, the St. Johns are there, so they're certainly going to have a look at him. Head resting on his hand, so nothing too serious. As we see 22 jumping up into our view. That's Carl Nunn, Team Green Kawasaki. There's second and third just come into the foreground as we see Carl Nunn is still in the lead in the background. And we're looking behind the blackberry bushes to see how our young man is. Back with the leader, however. He's not letting off any of his pace. round into the right hand and then the left hand flick. Then in that little drop off, down into the camber turn. There's 7.5 minutes gone of this 12 minutes race. There's second and third. 77, Roy Boywells. Number 5, James Paynton. Certainly James is not getting onto terms with Roy this race. Roy Wells comes from the Weston-super-Mare or the Somerset area, rides for the Corsham Club, which is around the Bristol area of the country. That's the 7 bike, distinctive pink helmet of Roy Wells. As they come up in press this Kawasaki turn. We've got a fallen rider, we see the St John's 22 just gone past the finish line as 77 and number 5 James Paynton go past the finish line. 22 Carl Nunn is already on the horseshoe, so certainly a nice lead for this lad. Carl Nunn just cresting those colourful banners into the Howard and Howard turn, into the Suzuki swerve. This boy is swerving, he's not taking any chances at all. He knows he's got the lead, he knows he's got the overall win. All he's got to do is just stay on the bike and be sensible. We're looking for the following two, still 77 and 5, second and third. Carl Nunn on that back, over straight away, still running in the first spot. In the right, and then the left flick. There we are, there's the second and third spots. Roy Boywells, the 77 Honda, followed by James Paynton. Number 5, James comes from the Oxford area. So James he's had 2 wins this weekend and a third, so he's got another third to add to that tally. Had he been up in the front, then he would be looking at the possible win, but there's no doubting this man, young Carl Nunn, as we shoot back to the second spot of Roy Boywells, getting some air. Beautiful air there again from Roy Boywells. Last lap flag this time. So 1 lap to do now for young Carl Nunn, Team Green Kawasaki, the 80cc machine. The age group of these lads, 10 and 11. That's Roy Boywells going past the finish line with James Paynton. I think they must have had a tow rope between these two all weekend. That's Carl Nunn going up over the far side. Second and third just dropping down into the bottom of that second horseshoe. Carl Nunn down the hill. Very controlled riding. Still got 1 lad down, he's receiving attention at the side of the track, but it doesn't look as though there's anything too serious. The yellow flag out, that warns all the riders that there's a problem somewhere on the track. As we see 22 Carl Nunn take the cab turn, and he's swooping around there before he goes up onto the back straight. So young Carl Nunn on the back Dover straight for the last time this weekend. Some very nice style there. You see the way that young Carl is stood up, gets into the corner, sits down, slides his weight right up to the front of the saddle, foot goes out just to steady himself. You see Roy Boywells emulating that same operation up to the front of the saddle, further into the corner, but we're seeing Number 22, Carl Nunn, going through the Honda corner, down into the car spawn spot, into that rutted bottom section, straightens themselves up for the right hand turn. He's on the uphill for the last time. There's one, there's two, and there's three. He's into the Kawasaki turn now. He's only got 200 yards to go. Just this downhill 3 steps into the TVM motorcycle area. TVM, the sponsors for this weekend. Winds it around, gets it straight, and the last jump over the finish line. The fist goes up in the air. He's got the win. Looking for second and third. Roy Boywell's in second. James Payton in third.